Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome back to Alien Protocols. So, two really incredible series of sightings by military personnel might offer some insights into who, what, and perhaps origins of these UFOs that are visiting us, and why the craft seem to have so many different shapes and appear to be many different technological levels. These cases are Colores, Brazil, which was 1977 to 1978, and Rendlesham, UFO case 1980. Now, a lot of people, when they think of Rendlesham, just think of this main craft that had the writing on it. But there were numerous other craft seen, and if you go into a lot of the details, you'll hear about them shooting down beams into the weapons bunker that was very secret at the time and contained nuclear weapons. Also, a lot of light balls flying around, the blue and the red and orangey yellow, and other types of shapes seen inside some of these light balls, plasma balls, which could just be an effect from the anti-gravity and propulsion systems on these craft. But let's look at these different craft. And UFO history is replete with so many different types of craft. Now, this is a separate craft, and this is a separate craft. And Rendlesham had quite a few different types, and some aspects that we see again and again in other cases. Like this one type of a bizarre craft had two little chasers, two little drone buddies. But the craft seemed to take on such a wide variety of appearances. And oftentimes people assume that it's different races because the craft are different. But human beings have many different types of vehicles. We have fire trucks and police cars and ambulances and regular vehicles and school buses. And our vehicles are based on their use and their need, designed very much specifically for specific purposes. And of course, it would seem obvious that some of these drones that accompany craft, which is just throughout UFO history, Belgium, for example, the giant triangles had little red and blue kind of drone buddies. And it seems like a very logical thing if you're going to have a craft out there to have some, extra eyes with you. And it also parallels a lot of the being incidents. Oftentimes you'll have one main larger being and two smaller little buddies. It's an interesting kind of setup. And it's not just in the craft, but also in the being sightings. So why are there so many different types that look a wide variety of different technological levels? So we can assume that different craft are for different purposes. That seems very logical. But they also look to be incredibly different levels of technology. For example, this craft right here had two little beings in it that could be seen operating it through this big window. And it would tilt sideways completely. And you would think these guys would go, whoa, and crash into the side of the craft. But they did not. There obviously is a localized gravity inside the craft and around the craft. And this case also shows something that we see in a lot of other cases that's very interesting: appendages. A lot of really interesting appendages. One of these interesting saucer craft had these two little appendages on the back, and it also shot out this kind of mist, light, energy stuff. This other odd-shaped craft had a little buddy too, which was kind of more like a cylinder. And another kind of like cylinder type craft was well documented. And to me, a lot of these physical solid craft appear to be at a very specific kind of range of technology, and could carry personnel or robots or other little things, and little flying drones for whatever their purposes are. But then when you get down to some of these other craft that seem more formless and just light, they seem to be of a much higher technological level. Now, some of these that appear just as light could be hiding inside of them a craft that just happens to emit a really powerful light show around it. But they seem to be even with Rendlesham, the giant cool triangle craft that was in the forest, very beveled, very stealth-like angles on it, seems to be, a certain level that doesn't seem far out of humanity's possibilities currently. But then some of these other ones seemed much more advanced. And to me, this is indicative that this race that is, or this intelligence that is sending these craft, is of a certain technological level that is a lot higher than the craft appear, and that they very efficiently only create technology and craft at the level required for the missions. And they can certainly be far more advanced than the craft appear, since the craft might have more simplistic missions and goals than the true full nature of the technological level of the primary species that sent them, or the primary intelligence. So this has been a question for a long time in ufology. Why are they so different? Well, they don't have to be different beings, different intelligences, different aliens. They could all be one, just with different purposes like ours. Then the second question is, why do they seem to display such a wide technological difference in range? Well, maybe they are certainly as high as the most advanced looking technology, but most probably much higher than that even. And they likely only display the levels of technology needed. And of course, this makes several assumptions that they are monitoring our technological capabilities to find out what their minimum requirements are to achieve their goals. So what do you guys think? Do you think these presumptions are accurate? And do you find these two cases very indicative of the fact that there is likely a single advanced intelligence, or a group that is associated as one, that creates all of these different craft? It brings up the possibility that all of the craft that have ever been seen throughout history could all be from one advanced intelligence, or a group, coalition. What do you guys think? Much love.